Welcome to the Instant Ink podcast. Today we have a special guest that is actually a bit of a mystery guest to us. Daniel is kind enough to join us very much last minute as our previous guest fell through, which fortunately our previous guest was nice enough to tap Daniel on the shoulder and get him with us here. So welcome to the Instant Ink podcast. So what we do here is we create a comic, a one-page comic. We have no idea what we're going to do when we get together. We go with a prompt. We'll brainstorm it. We'll write it. Roberto, our artist, will draw it. And by the end of this, we'll have a nice little one-page story for everyone to enjoy. So I'm Adriano from Pesto Comics. I'm a writer and letterer. And my co-host, Roberto, is the artist. Roberto, we'll let them know who you are.
Hello, I'm Roberto. I'm a comic book artist. I'm creator of a comic called Voyager that will be live sometime on Kickstarter. And that's basically what I'm working on right now.
Right on. And Daniel, introduce yourselves to us as we've just met seconds ago.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Daniel Torres. I co-founded Space Chimp Comics with my dad last October. We're based in Melbourne, Florida. Issues 1 and 2 of our flagship title, Tales from Toxic Pond, were successfully funded on Kickstarter. Issue 3 is actually live right now. We just launched last week. It's like a horror anthology in the same vein as like Twilight Zone, Tales from Toxic Pond, standalone stories in each. So that's pretty much what we've been working on for the last year or so. We're about 80% funded with the 3rd issue right now, and got about 3 or 4 more in the bank ready to go. So that's pretty much it.
That's awesome. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us. It means a lot as we can get something a little different together. So we're actually speaking to you from Canada. So I'm in Toronto myself. Roberto's in Niagara Falls. So welcome. We got an international conversation happening today.
Yeah, it's a little colder up there, I'd imagine.
Yeah, not yet so bad today, but but generally speaking, yes.
Colder than Florida for sure, but
yeah.
Yeah, that is fair. That is fair. All right. So what we do first off is we bring up some prompts. They're completely random. What you're seeing right now is not what we're going to use. I'm going to give these a nice little refresh so that it's fresh to all of us and we haven't seen them before. And this is what we get. All right. So to read them out quick. Backhanded insult. Write about a character that's being backhandedly insulted. Constant motion. Write about something that can't stop and why. Family heirloom. What is it and why is it one? Beautiful sunset. Something magical happens as the sun disappears over the horizon. And 4 seasons. The changes that occur throughout the year. All right, so these are some, I feel like they're challenging. I don't know. Daniel, any of them speaking to you?
No, not really, but we can definitely get something out of these for sure.
Yeah, and again, we're very loose. If you want to use all of them, if you want to use one of them, if you want to use them as loosely as possible, by all means, this is really just meant to give us some kind of something to go off of. So
yeah, I'm torn between constant motion and family heirloom. Those kind of sound interesting to me.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I like constant motion too. And 4 seasons taps on what we were talking earlier about Florida and Canada.
Yeah, Florida doesn't have all 4 seasons, unlike us who gets.
No, we have 1.5 seasons. That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, we get 2 months of summer if we're lucky.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. It's we enjoy it while we can.
Yeah.
All right. So constant motion, I think, is standing out to everybody.
Yes.
And then family heirloom's an interesting one. If we combine it, I feel like I don't know how you do that. How can you combine those? And again, we can go pretty silly here. We don't have to necessarily go serious. It's I find with a one-page comic, a punchline definitely helps sell it a bit. But the challenge is, being a comic, you can see everything, right? So it can't be too much of a surprise because you can see it right away.
What's the typical tone of the past one-page comics? Do you guys go serious or silly? What's the usual?
It's silly seems to be the way to go. You can have a bit of a serious tone in there, but yeah, silly's the easy way out, for lack of a better term. It's a lot easier to do a one-pager because there's the structure of a joke fits really well with one page, where something serious maybe you don't get it across because you can't get so much character into the one page. But again, if you're up to the challenge.
What's the genre that you're more comfortable with, Daniel?
Oh, I'm fine with either. your show. I'll go with the flow here. Constant motion. If you guys want to do silly, that's fine with me.
Yeah, no, hey, you're the guest here. You're driving this ship. Okay, it sounds like constant motion though might be our topic here, and we'll just. All right, so let's think of something. What constant motion? What fits that category? I'm thinking like in my head it's a train, but that feels too.
Okay.
Maybe it's the family heirloom. It's a classic car without
Car with
brakes.
no brakes. Yeah.
I was thinking that, yeah, like an old car, or like an old bicycle or something like that, actually. Yeah.
Right on. And it can't stop, right?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, like a bicycle, I feel like put your feet down. But maybe. Or if you're going too fast, I mean that's a terrible idea. So definitely don't want to be putting down
maybe it's a big boat like the one that crashed with the bridge.
Oh yeah.
That's something that can't be stopped so easy.
Yeah. That's a good
It's
one.
true.
Okay, so we got a boat, we got a car.
We need characters.
We need characters because we just have inanimate objects right now.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna stick with constant motion. Let's do that. But yeah, let's think about who is in constant motion and why.
The first thing that comes to mind when I think of constant motion are you guys familiar with the fat tire bicycle races over in, I believe it's Belgium? So like fat tire pub crawls basically over in Belgium. They're basically these like pub crawls for people that are riding these bikes with these big fat tires that are perfect for people that are a little inebriated, that have been drinking too much beer. That way they're not stumbling all over the trail and whatnot. But that's what comes to mind for me. Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
How fat are the tires? Like
enough.
Like
okay.
Enough to keep someone who's not quite balanced.
Right, you're a little wobbly. You need the extra support.
Okay,
You
but it's not the bad bike. The has like tractor wheels.
No, it's not like a flat tire or anything like that. It's more of a fat tire.
Okay.
Okay. I think we're on to something. Okay, I see where you're going with the bike now. That makes sense. Because it's not so much that the bike won't stop, it's that the rider can't stop it because they're not in the condition to do things.
Exactly.
I get that. All right. Someone was having too much fun. Okay. So characters. So you said they're at this event in Belgium, right? Here, Roberto, shall I share your screen?
I'm not doing anything yet, but I know how to draw bikes, so that's no problem with that.
Sure. So Roberto's going to brainstorm with his hands as he does while we talk it out. So they're at a party in Belgium or something. It doesn't have to be Belgium, but
right.
It doesn't have to be that kind of party. But a party is a good setting because it implies a lot, which again, when one-page comic, implication is very important because you can't get everything across by explaining it. Otherwise, Roberto's going to have no room for his art. It'll just be speech bubbles. Okay, so they're at a party. Maybe they're at a party and they bump into someone big, someone that's going to fight them, and they hop on this bike.
Okay.
So then we're limited in our space. This is the fun challenge of this. Is that our big guy?
Do you think that they owe this guy money, or maybe they wronged him in the past, or maybe they mistake him for somebody else?
Maybe, or even just he runs into him, makes him spill his beer on himself. Right?
Okay.
And now he's wrong.
He can't stop, right? So
yeah, wrong guy, and that's why he can't stop because this guy will murder him. But then, that's the important thing. The cop out is to go to a cliff. Always, I don't live near a cliff.
Neither do I.
But it's so in my head. It's what would stop you? A cliff.
I live near the falls. So
you live near one of the biggest cliffs. Yes, that's right.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, we can kind of recreate the barrel over the falls with the bicycle here.
Or is that the vehicle? Is it a barrel? Does he jump into a barrel instead of a bike?
Yeah, maybe like a beer barrel or something like that.
Oh, okay. You know what? Are we onto something? Maybe we're onto something. Are they at like a Bavarian bar and they have all the kegs and the barrels, and then he bumps into this guy and he hops in the barrel, not realizing that it tips into the river and throws him down the throws him down the falls.
Exactly. It's like it's an angry Bavarian waiter at a beer garden that he wronged somehow.
Yes, I like it. I like it's a strong visual. Or okay, it's the waiter, or to add some conflict, maybe he's looking at somebody he shouldn't be looking at, and that's what causes him to bump into something.
Yeah, maybe he's eyeballing somebody across the beer garden. Boyfriend's not around, right? Comes back around, doesn't realize that it's this huge, hulking Arnold Schwarzenegger type guy.
Yeah. I like that. Okay. But yeah, it's like he's looking somewhere he shouldn't be. Bumps into the wrong guy. Runs, jumps into a barrel. That barrel happens to tip into somewhere it shouldn't. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we're on to something.
Okay, yeah, I like it.
All
I don't
right.
have a whole lot of experience with cliffs and rolling downhill over here in Florida, so you'll have to keep me going here.
Yeah, fair enough. If outside of Niagara Falls, I don't either. It's a short drive from here. Okay, while we wait for Roberto, who's key to this whole operation, tell me more about yourself. So you're in Florida, right? Whereabouts?
We're over in Melbourne on the East Coast. Where the easy cop out is to say we're like 40 minutes east of Orlando.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
right on the beach. We're just south of the Space Center over there. Get to see all the cool SpaceX launches and all that good stuff.
Oh wow! All right. It's not too disruptive, or is that like part of the highlight of being there?
It's part of the highlight, man. Honestly, you just get used to it after a while. You don't even really notice the sonic boom anymore.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
the glass in the apartment and everything, but you don't even blink anymore at this point. Been here for 20 plus years.
Amazing. It's crazy what you can get used to over time, right?
Yeah, no kidding. But I'll tell you what, I still haven't gotten used to the 95-degree days, 350 days a year. That I haven't gotten used to.
That sounds brutal. Yeah, we get a dozen of those. It's all here. Well, similar to there. It's just humidity. Like it's awful. But it's 2 bad weeks, and then because we're like right off the lake and all that, so I guess we're getting a lot of the humidity. But
okay, gotcha.
But again, you are thankful for it because it's brief.
It's a nice respite from the tundra.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's we know it could be worse because it usually is. So
yeah, for sure.
we take it when we can. But yeah, how's so weather-wise though? Like relatively stable out there, or is it?
Yeah, it's just hot, man, and we're right off the beach, so we get all the brunt of the hurricanes and the storms that come rolling in every year. I actually work outside. I'm an ecologist, so I'm out there.
Oh, you're
sweating every day out there, walking through the swamps and the jungles of Florida.
You're out there on purpose.
Exactly. I'm being paid, thankfully. Otherwise, I wouldn't be.
Yeah, fair enough. AC sounds nice at that point.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right on. All right, Roberto, while you were gone, I think we've solidified the story.
Okay.
Tell us if you have some editorial input here.
Yeah.
So we have our main character, or gentleman, who ends up going in the barrel, who's looking at one of the waitresses, one of the ladies there, and he shouldn't be. And in doing so, he angers our big man. Right? Realizing that he's angered the big man, he jumps into one of the barrels. The barrels, which happen to be a little bit too close to the water.
Yes.
And when the barrel goes into the river, which then goes over the falls. And that is our story.
Okay. What do you see in the first panel?
So first panel is
just the guy looking at the waitress, or we have to establish a shot with the place. Is it like a party outside?
What do you think, Daniel? It's your vision.
I was thinking, either like a patio outside, or maybe he's looking down the bar at this woman, and there's a big hulking silhouette of a man behind her that he doesn't realize is accompanying her, and he's kind of giving her the look.
All right. While Roberto's roughing that out, you mentioned you did comics with your father, right?
Yeah, we were working on projects around the same time, and decided to just pool our efforts, create our own indie comic book company. And so I wrote and lettered the first issue, Tales from Toxic Pond, hired my own artists, whatnot. That was funded on Kickstarter back in December. and then he wrote the second issue. He's a lifelong writer, award-winning journalist, a lot more professional experience than myself.
Sure.
My credits involve a couple papers I wrote in grad school.
Hey man, you gotta start somewhere. Yeah, no?
Yeah, exactly.
Not that's
right.
Yeah,
It was challenging in and of itself. But yes, he wrote the second issue, hired his own guys. We have the same artist doing all of the cover A's for the book.
Nice.
That funded back in, I want to say April or May.
Okay.
And so I wrote the third issue. That's live right now. We're doing a bunch of cool stuff. It's a very music centric issue where we're working. It's about a folk duo, crossroads demon type story. So we're doing like a vinyl record with the album, tour posters, tour shirts, all that good stuff to accompany the book.
Nice. So yeah, so it's like it sounds like a project that's like really meant for Kickstarter in that sense, that it's not just the book, right? It's the whole experience around it.
Yeah, man, it's this big multimedia thing. Chris, who he tapped me in for tonight. He introduced me to a musician friend of his that is unbelievably talented, and he decided that he wanted to help me out with the album. So he's been writing all the music. He's been sending me videos of the songs, and they're incredible. They're in the vein of like old country western stuff from the 70s, and he's just killing it. So we're looking to actually put out like an entire album.
Oh wow.
Book. So yeah, it's ambitious, but we're having fun doing it.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, that's the way to do it too, right? Like people, they're not just looking for their regular book that they could pick up on a Wednesday. They want something a little more, a little different. Sounds like that's what you're delivering on for sure.
That's what we're trying to do, man. Yeah, absolutely. We're like 82% funded right now, so with 25 days left, we're doing it right.
You're well on your way.
Yeah, hopefully, God willing.
Daniel, do you know there is a Spanish comic book artist that has your same name, Daniel Torres?
I do, yeah, because I entered my book on League of Comic Geeks. For my first comic, I wanted it to be official. I wanted it to be on the website. And when I put in my name, they automatically had a picture for the Spanish artist Daniel Torres. And I had to tell them, hey, that's not me. I had to try to upload a new picture, and they had to verify my identity and all that stuff. I was cracking up. I had no idea.
That's an interesting way to find out. But I'm me. I'm the same name.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not me. That doesn't look anything like me.
Yeah, I think he's much older than you.
Yeah, for sure. Mustache, darker hair, all that stuff.
And did they make you like change the name, or they just run it?
Yeah, so I'm Daniel Torres, and then I have like 2 in parentheses after my name now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You're the son of the original Daniel Torres.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Okay. But I have 2 panels. Then the big guy runs after our character. Please remind me.
Okay. So yes, we have our first panel. He's looking at this woman, and then yes, the man in the shadow. I see you got that laid out. And then that man takes exception. So now our main character makes a run for it. Makes a run for it towards these barrels. At which point he'll hop into one. It falls over. And then he goes over the falls. I think I just explained like 7 different panels there, so edit that as you will.
Let's see if I can. Maybe these are over the edge, and I can see the falls or something on the back. Maybe these are a little bit closer here.
Now, I'm a sucker for accuracy. Is there a bar or a beer garden near Niagara Falls that?
There is a couple, but they're a little bit of a hike, and they're probably a little fancier than what we're
yes
we're going for here.
Yeah, and they're not over the edge
of the falls.
Yeah, no, they court folks from the casino to come come to falls. Yeah, it's not. So if you ever watched Superman 2 and they do their honeymoon in Niagara Falls,
oh yeah,
yeah, that's a totally different place than it is now. That was Niagara Falls from then. It is casinos now.
What was that? That was like 80 or 82 that movie came out. Right?
Yeah, it was early 80s. Yeah, it's a different place entirely. Understandably so.
Right, yeah, 40 years later.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a little more trying to court the money. Court some of the Americans from over the border because it's right on the border and all your money's worth 30% more than ours. So it's easy.
That's right. Plus,
Right?
I've heard the Canadian side is nicer than the US side. You guys
So
have that a hot take?
yeah, folks will say that because as far as the falls go, like the Horseshoe Falls at the end of the falls is the Canadian side. So the Horseshoe Falls themselves, beautiful. And all the stuff, all the like things to do is on the Canadian side, like restaurants, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side, the American side, you guys have like this national park, and you can walk right up to the edge of the falls, and you can't do that here. Like you're a good length away.
Really?
Where,
Oh, wow.
yeah, on the U.S. side, like you're in it, so it's more like nature and natural, like a natural setting on the
Okay.
U.S. side, with some exception. Like you go a little deeper into Niagara Falls there, and at another casino, right? Yeah, and all the tchotchkes with the tourist stuff and that. So it's not dissimilar from the Canadian side, but as far as like the park goes, like we have a concrete and a rail and all that. And
Okay.
on the US side, it's like you go through the park, and then once you get to the end of the park, you're like standing right at the edge of one of the falls. So
Oh, wow, interesting. Okay.
yeah, so it really depends on how you want to approach it. You want to be able to drive right up, hop out of your car, and walk to the edge, maybe do a zip line, something like that. That's the Canadian side. Like the tourist trap, Canadian side. The like nature, like you want to just see the falls and experience it. That's actually U.S. side, which, based on the advertising, you would think it's the other way around.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. It's funny because I was born and raised in New York. I never took a trip up, never went.
Yeah, it's nice. It's like a must do. The funny thing about here is, so I'm in Toronto, and usually we'll have folks from Europe and all that come over, and part of the trip is you go to Niagara Falls, and they're not close to each other. Roberto and I are at least an hour and a half away from each other. we're not close, but you see any of the tourist stuff, it's always you do the CN Tower, and then you do Niagara Falls. And they don't tell you that it's an hour and a half. Right. But I guess they do that in Florida too, right? It's, oh yeah, go to Miami, go to Orlando. Those are not close. That's the...
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like where I am, we're centrally located, and it's still 3 hours to Miami, 3 hours to Tampa. It's nothing's close.
Yeah, right. I feel like folks from Europe don't appreciate that it's, yeah, you guys have a train, you could be in 2 different countries.
Yeah.
Right, one train ride. Like here it's like you could drive for hours and you're still in the same state, same province.
Oh yeah, man, for sure.
Yeah, very different experience on the side of the hemisphere.
So what do you think so far?
So we have our layouts. How do we feel about it? I think
I like it. I think you're pretty much getting all the beats of the story that we've just come up with.
Great.
Yeah. And I feel like that middle panel really gives the context for
Yes.
how
I have to do some more background.
Yeah, because that was, again, I think you did it. But yeah, that was my big concern, was like, how do we go from guy in bar to falling over phone?
Yes. I don't know. Maybe I have to take out this rail, because how I'm gonna kick this over the rail? It's
so it's the American side, we'll say.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Less of a rail there. Oh man.
Okay.
Yeah. So
any edit, something that you want to change?
Daniel, any recommendations on your end? I think I'm okay, but
I'm good. Yeah.